Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy.
Bye.
You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
All right, guys, it's Tuesday, and I think we might have some opportunities here. I hope the opportunity is not already gone. A little bit late today, so let's try and rush through our volume profiles here. So Treasuries are up this morning. Pretty good jump overnight. So we are now like well past this area. This was the area I was looking at yesterday. I was like, okay, let's see how we do with this. No, now we're gunning for those highs, I think. Yeah. Right up in here. Well, that's still quite a ways away. So, well, let's not get too excited yet, right? S&P 500 still kind of struggling. Yesterday took a hammering. There was a higher low though, and a higher low overnight as well. But growth concerns out there in the S&P 500. So oil, oh man, oil just got destroyed yesterday. It is falling out of channel. I would need a daily chart. Oh, actually, I do have a daily chart. Look at that. Oh, okay, yeah, there's way further. They could go all the way back into like the 65, 70 area. Because oil just is like, oh my gosh, okay. Gold and silver, even though the treasuries are like gangbusters, gold and silver not really recovering all that well. Kappa not doing so good either. So that just kind of reinforces this is like risk off growth concerns everywhere. And the Japanese yen, an actual solid buy. I didn't actually see any kind of hints that it was intervention by the Japanese yen or anything, but there was some job owning and so forth from the Japanese yen and Japanese officials hinting that they could be doing bond buying within the next meeting. So that's kind of a big deal and sets us up for perhaps a good day in the treasuries. And then Bitcoin, meh. Bitcoin still meh. All right, so let's come in here and check. No news at the bottom of the hour today, but we do get jolts. Ooh, okay. Okay, so oh 06, 03, because today is the 4th, right? Yes, it is. Okay, so flows. Japan may buy bonds. Next meeting, we have Jolts at 10 o'clock. That's a pretty big piece of news. We still have leftover growth concerns. Oil pummeled. That is worth noting as a flow for us here in the treasuries because oil is one of the strongest drivers of inflation. Oil prices are coming back down. There's going to be a lot less concern about inflation. Okay. We don't have any Fed speakers or any of that. I'm gonna sneeze. I should take. I've been like not taking my allergy pill this past week. I really should because I'm sneezing like crazy. Okay. Do we got anything else on here? I don't know. Okay. So let's just leave it at that. Maybe you guys will think of some other things, or maybe some other things will come up as we go along. but my prediction is flows tilted to upside, but may hold back for Jolts. Jolts is like my least favorite piece of economic news right now because I really don't trust that measure. It used to not matter, and then, you know, Jerome Powell said one thing and all of a sudden the market started like really paying attention to it. And so the market does care about this measure. And, you know, if there was no other news today, I would think that it would be an easy buy here. But I'm not actually seeing that in the flows. I come over here to the 10-year, and there's actually some tilts to the downside, and I'm not necessarily seeing a super strong change in the spread. Maybe a little bit of flattening, but not too big. So even though I was coming in here thinking this morning, hey, after reading all the news and everything, hey, we could buy this. We're kind of in a little liquidity hole. The flow's not in line here. I don't like the spot. So that's a little disappointing because, you know, if I take a trade, generally it would be pretty early in the session. So I think that means that I'm not going to get a trade today. Unless Jolts does something. But if I were to guess, I would think that Jolts would probably surprise to weakness like everything else is. That job openings will be, well, they're expecting 8.35, got 8.48 last time. I bet you it's even lower than 8.35. And then that could be some buying, but then it's a temporary thing. Right? Okay. Let me blow my nose here. Oh man, guys, we're not even 10 minutes in. We're already arguing over Roaring Kitty / deep effing value. I'm wondering if on the title yesterday I should have put DFV instead of Roaring Kitty. Maybe that would have gotten more clicks. I don't know. I did go and edit that video and put it on TikTok, and it did okay. You don't think that was his portfolio? Okay, so my understanding, you know, I wish I could go and find this Reddit post for you. But my understanding is that like Schwab, was it? Is his broker, and they know that he's his broker. So when they saw that, they went and looked, and it for sure was his account. So there's a possibility that like he gave his account to somebody else, or perhaps, I don't think that one's very likely, but perhaps somebody gave him money, because I mean, man, 200 million is a lot, right? 200 million is a lot to be thrown around like that. But when you go and you like do the math about like how much he should have made from the first GameStop run and how much he would have made from the run that we had a few weeks ago. Yeah, you're right. Maybe it's E-Trade. Yeah, because they like looked at it and saw that basically he bought the thing, and then as soon as he was done, he went and posted. And so they're like, that's you know, we're concerned that you're manipulating things. Anyways, if you do the math, he could have made that much. It could be that he's just made that much from GameStop, and now he's going to bet it on earnings again. So that's the thing, is like, oh, right. Imagine making it 100 million and it not being enough. Well, so for all we know, he went and pulled 20 million out and, you know, has that sitting somewhere else to live off. Like, if I had, like, let's say I made $50 million. He has like 200 million. If I made $50 million, I think that I would take about half of it. I would say I would take 30 million of it and put it in some sort of a relatively safe income generating fund of some sort. And then I would take 10 to 20 million and turn that into a momentum fund. Like I would start a family fund, hire a few people to help me and that are smarter than me and can help me do the momentum fund thing. And then I would spend like 10 million on like a new house or something like that, right? He could have done that. Yeah, you could live comfortably off of buying 50 million in 30-year bonds and doing nothing for the next 30 years. Yep. But that would be boring. Come on. That would be way boring. So I think that maybe he did have that much money and he is just a degenerate gambler. I don't know. I have to say, this whole incident, before that, everybody thought, oh, he sure seems like a class act with all this and everything. Now I think he's just a fool. Not just a fool, but kind of an a-hole. Because I do feel like he's just pump and dumping the retail traders. Now, he posted yesterday at the end of the day, so he did not adjust his position yesterday. And something that I did not know or realize yesterday when we were discussing it is that they have earnings next week. So I'm kind of thinking that he is making a bet on non-farms and will not change his position, or sorry, not non-farms, earnings. He's making a play for earnings. Now, what are the chances that GameStop has done so well that that stock is going to be over 25 or whatever the deal is, right? Well, let's go and see where they're at, because you're saying Roaring Kitty is smashing it. That's not what I see, man. What I see is, okay, it jumped up overnight. It was at 22. His options were for 25 and a half, essentially. Huge jump. And then it basically just sold all day. And kind of when I look at like what the options market makers and so forth are likely to do, I think that you could continue to see selling here. At least until his price point. But it's at the moment, it's kind of looking like they are going to open very close to his break even. So that does not look good in my opinion. But let's see what happens. Okay, Uzi says Bloomberg is out with a jarring report saying that monthly non-farm payroll prints likely overstated job growth last year by 730,000. No. Okay, you sent me the screenshot. Where do you get that from? If you had a Bloomberg terminal this whole time and haven't told, well, let's read it here. Asked after the 1st of May FOMC decision what factors might lead officials to cut rates earlier than planned, Fed Chair Jerome Powell cited an unexpected deterioration in the labor market, even though he saw little chance of that. But we think just such a surprise is in store. Several Fed officials seem to believe the labor market is tight, but we estimate based on more comprehensive measures that monthly non-farm payroll prints likely overstated job growth by 730K last year, with hiring maybe even falling below zero in October. Much of the downward revision was due to a surge in business closures, even as new business formations slowed sharply in the second half of the year. Factors that payroll prints don't take into account. Wait, let me read that again. Much of the downward revision was due to a surge in business closures, even as new business formations slowed sharply in the second half of the year. Factors that payroll prints likely don't take into account. That was a large block buy there, by the way, at 06, which is, we've had a couple of large blocks in this area, both buy and sell. Octavia says we have a good risk to reward setup. Okay, convince me, because I came in here thinking this is a buy, and then everything that I looked at said no, and I guess I'm not going to do anything. I wanted to come in and buy it, Or do you think that it's a sell? I guess I could see how you might think it's good risk reward if it's a sell, but I don't know, man. I'm not convinced. Okay, so I got like three conversations. You say either way. Okay. On AOS talking 21 June. So note that his options were the 20 strike price, but he paid 550 for him. So his break even is at 2550 essentially. Okay. Anyways, let me finish reading this. We see the same factors at work this year adjusted for those distortions. We estimate the true pace of job growth is currently below 100K per month, substantially below the 242K 3-month average pace in the printed establishment survey report. By the end of the year, the printed level of non-farms payrolls for 2024 likely will overstate true employment by at least 1 million, with more than half due to the BLS's model for estimating business formations and closures. That doesn't make sense to me, to be honest with you. Like, I thought that the way that the report was done was you take the new payrolls, like they survey all of the payroll companies, and based on what the payroll companies say, they estimate how many jobs were created that month. So wouldn't business closures be reflected in that? I don't know. It's very curious to me that Bloomberg, of all people, would be coming out and saying such a thing, because we've been saying for months and months that the non-farms numbers don't seem to make sense. So that's an interesting story. But you know what? It goes in line with everything else that we're seeing, which is strong concerns about growth. Bad news is bad news over the past week or so. Okay, so then the other thing is, that's not manipulation. So yeah, I think that we have to be very careful with the words that we use, because manipulation is, at least as I understand it legally, is more about if you go out and you say something that you know is untrue in order to make a stock move up or down. That is what they consider manipulation. That's not what Roaring Kitty is doing. Roaring Kitty is just posting what his position is and then hoping that everybody follows him and jumps in after him, which is really kind of silly if you think about it. Why? Like, again, oh man, I was talking to somebody the other day. They were kind of new, and they had just run into me from the subreddit. It was actually kind of funny. He was on the subreddit, came into the Discord, saw me, recognized me from like my posts on Reddit, and he didn't even know about my live stream, or that, we weren't created from the subreddit. The subreddit just decided to link us and we became their official Discord and all of that. But this is kind of funny. And as I was talking to him, because he was asking for advice, it was like manna from heaven. And the perfect, simple, just simple and terse explanation for how you should approach markets came to me. And I'm like, why have I not been saying this the whole time? Why have I not been saying this the whole time? Follow data, not people. That's what it's really about here, guys. Follow data, not people. Because if you're just following people, they might just turn around and sell into you. Like, I really don't think that that's a very effective way to make money. And especially this thing where it's like, all of these guys are just willing to jump into something at a moment's notice because they saw Roaring Kitty do it, is just absolutely insane. Yeah, he understands idiots. I think that's fair to say. Yeah, understand. he did work for hedge funds. My understanding is that he worked for a hedge fund and got let go because they thought he was doing shady stuff. So he's, you know, before it was just kind of like, well, he did the, you know, but now it really feels like he is just kind of like trying to harness the cult to his own advantage. I can't tell how much of it is he just wants to take degenerate risks and have everybody watch, and how much of it is him actively trying to manipulate people. and that's the weird thing about it, is I don't think you can go after him legally for doing that. Like, it's not illegal to post your position. You post your position and then people, like, if anything, I think it's kind of foolish to post your position. Like, okay, you bought millions of options, you're a huge whale in there, and now you've just announced yourself to the whole world, to all of the market makers. What do you think they're going to do? Right? And again, assuming that he hasn't been funded by somebody else, it seems to me that last time around he did dump on those retail traders that bought. So yeah. Okay, Trading for Science asks, how do you backtest? Well, so NinjaTrader has some pretty good backtester built into it. Obviously, you can fool any backtester, so you do have to, like, you know, it's a skill. It's a thing you learn. You got to put in the work and backtest a bunch of different things, and you'll kind of find where you can kind of screw up and so forth. But I have a whole video series about how to program in NinjaTrader, and also how to develop strategies in general, that gives you a lot of the experience that I've learned where the pitfalls are. They're all on the channel, so just go and find the videos on the channel. It's funny, weird how normies can't compute someone pumping stuff so they can sell it into their demand. Well, yeah, but I think it fits with everything else about what retail traders believe about markets and their general approach to things, right? Like, people's general approach to things is the market is always right. If the market moved up, that must mean that there was something to justify it moving up. There must have been some change in fundamentals or whatever. Like, markets are perfectly efficient. That is the conventional wisdom. And so you trust those prices, and they think, oh, well, it doesn't matter how big they are. That shouldn't affect the fundamental price, because you can't manipulate, right? They don't realize how easy to manipulate prices actually are, because orders have a very, very strong impact. Right? So it's just, this is kind of like, you know, normal person is working off of that neural network out of the front of their head that has like a little bit of a general model of the market, and then it just kind of does things based on, and that model is basically says, oh, if this other person bought, that must mean it's a good reason to buy. Jump in, right? And that's as far as it goes. We, on the other hand, because we are informed by order flow and some of the empirically proven behaviors or stylized behaviors of order flow that are different from what a perfectly random market would be, we understand the strong impact and how big of a factor that is in what happens in the market. And so we have a model where we try and predict those flows instead. So from our perspective, right, like a big whale like that is, okay, he goes out, he posts, those people are going to buy at least that day. And the overnight they did. I was actually, again, a little bit surprised that there was not more buying. But it kind of seems to me like a lot of retail traders were a little upset about this, that he's doing it again. Not as much flow this other time. And now we can kind of look at it, and I would say that the balance of the flows are tilted to the downside. I would expect when you get into some of the like second and third order effects of the options and everything that are going on here, there's going to be some selling. And unless those earnings for GameStop are like really, really good for him, I think he's going to lose money on this. Well, the Treasuries moved back down 2 ticks. I'm still seeing some hints, although it's not completely consistent across the board, but I am seeing some hints that the yield curve is flattening. The imbalance in the 10-year is still uncertain. The 30-year is actually kind of suggesting a sell to me. And even in the 5-year, it did not really see a strong imbalance to the upside. So it's kind of doing what I wanted it to do, which is, further upside. But I'm not, the planets are not all aligned properly. And we're at 7 o'clock. I'm still kind of leaning towards not doing anything. I think that it could be that Jolts is a big enough data point that the Treasuries are somewhat constrained. Okay, so now I'm thinking about it, and I made some changes to this imbalance indicator yesterday, but I think that I want to do a little bit of a test here. I want to add on this version of it, but do it on each tick and see if those numbers end up coming out to the same. I might need to clear the data because obviously, well, and once we've been through 10 bars, then they should be the same, right? So I'm gonna put that over here. I think I can just minimize it, right? So another thing I'm noticing through all of this is that the Japanese yen is taking a pretty decent hit at the moment. Maybe that's why Treasuries have been drugged down towards the low end of this range. I don't know if it's just actually I think it is. So I am like really into my workout this cycle for some reason. I bought new shorts. I must have been buying new shorts. All of a sudden, I'm just like super engaged. I'm watching a lot of videos. It was mostly things that I knew before, but like refreshing my memory and knowledge of all of these things and stuff, and just like really going full bore into my workout. And like, it's almost like everything else is kind of taking a second seat to that right now. Like, I look forward to the workout, and then I just vegetate afterwards, like, and I'm supposed to peak on Saturday. So yesterday was a medium workout. So I don't feel like completely cooked this morning. But that means that as the week goes on, that I will be getting into this super compensated, super twitchy kind of state, So in that situation, well, it doesn't mean that I shouldn't take a trade, but it's just that I should be really cognizant, like, what is my plan? I think when I did these things before, I didn't really have this kind of like a really great way of like planning it out and saying these are what the flows are going to be, and this is the situation where I can take a trade, you know. I really wanted to take a trade today, but it's not lining up the way that I thought that it should. It does not look like a good trade to me. Octavius went long. Well, if you're long, like I think at the moment, so like the thing is I'm not seeing the flows in line, so I don't think I can justify a trade. But just based on the range, I think 26 is not a bad buy location, right? Now, on the other hand, remember that we were like at 4 what? We were like 4.6 at one point. Now we're all the way down to almost 4.35. So that's a good 15 basis points from the 3.5 from only a few days ago. And then from where we were, like, the yields are just declining awfully quickly. You do have to be careful because when recessions happen, they can happen very quickly, right? I don't know. Last time that I you know, the 1 or 2 recessions that I've seen, they've kind of been like, we kind of knew they were coming. You know, like it's kind of weird to think about actually, because I did kind of see the run up. I knew enough about the world and what was going on in the market to kind of see the recession in 2008 coming. Like the market was coming down, but then it was like all of a sudden chaos, right? But it was coming down, and it was like anticipated that the economy was weakening. I remember going to real estate school and them saying, well, you know, probably now is not the best time to get into real estate because like house prices aren't doing very good. And, you know, that tends to make it hard. You scratched it. Here's the other thing is that if we were to get the flows that I was expecting today, which is long, primarily off of the report that the Japanese are possibly planning on buying bonds as early as June meeting, the flows would be pretty tilted to the upside, and you shouldn't have to risk very much. And this coming back down like 4 ticks is maybe a little bit too much. I guess it's within the range, but it makes me a little uneasy. Anyways, what was I saying? Recessions? Yeah, so like in the 2008 crisis, it was like we were expecting a recession. We just weren't expecting like an outright panic, right? And then the 2021, that was also kind of like the market was moving in a way that suggested a recession was coming. And then the pandemic hit. It was like, we're like, well, I don't know about this one. Like, yeah, the market's moving like maybe there could be a recession or anything, but like we don't see any kind of a recession coming. And then the pandemic hit, and it was like, so was the market predicting that the pandemic was going to happen? Like, no, like there's no way they could see that. So that whole market behavior 2019 into 2020, awfully curious, right? You should run for president. I would vote for you to be the youngest person ever, though half of them about to die anyways. I think that for me to do something like running for president, that I would have to steep myself super deep into politics and get into some sort of a position like as a state legislator, like now, you know, because I'm 39. What my birthday was last week, so I'm 39. But you know, you have to like build up the experience. Like one of the things that I don't have that I feel like I need to gain. I feel like I need to gain more of the executive experience. I used to think, you know, you're not really the best to do the executive stuff because you're ADHD. And I think that was true at the time. But I think with the medication and my understanding of the disorder and all of the systems that I've built up for myself, I think I can actually be extremely effective in executive tasks now. Like, I think that I do better at them than the average person, despite having the ADHD. If I'm on my medication. If I'm on my medication. If I'm not on my medication, then I still will, like, drift and forget what I'm doing. And or have difficulty, like, getting myself going and motivated and all that sort of stuff. Especially right now when I'm in the later part of my cycle. It does not help my productivity. So yeah, but I don't have the quote unquote experience. That's the thing, is that it's more than just like doing executive tasks. You actually have to practice and get the experience and learn all of those things. And compared to other people my age that would be running for office, I think I'm way behind on that sort of thing. So I made the decision a long time ago that I cared more about what was going on in the market than what's going on in politics, because that has a more direct impact on people. There's greater opportunity for good in markets. You know, like funding ventures and things like that. That's where, like, real business creation, that has a stronger impact than anything. You know? So I don't see myself ever running for office. Then on top of that, like, man, you see what's going on in politics these days. Why would anybody want to take that on willingly? Like, for real. Right? I honestly think that one of the most important things about being president, too, is the bully pulpit, I guess you could say. Like, the president has an ability to influence people's attitudes about things more than any other person in the world. And so a really good president is going to be somebody that, you know, is articulate and has a way with people. Like, I think about Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton supposedly just kind of had, like, this presence that just captivated everybody that he met. And I would say that Donald Trump has it too. There's probably why, you know, he's very likely to become president again, right? I do not have that. I do not have that. And I'm not sure I ever will. You need to do it for insider trading? Sure. You know what? If I was in Congress, I would take trades. It would have to be within their rules and everything, but I would probably take trades. Are you voting for him? Well, I'm definitely not voting for Joe Biden. I can tell you that much. Yeah, sweet insider trading pass. Well, but guys, I don't have to become a politician to get that sweet insider trading pass. I just need to either A, know politicians, or B, work for politicians, right? Like, I could be like the data analyst guy for a politician, and then maybe they would give me insider hints. This is one of those reasons why I really dislike the approach that most people have about Congress trading. Okay, it's not wrong for Congress to trade because they know things. It's wrong for Congress to trade because it's a conflict of interest. Right? The way that trading works is you have asymmetrical information, and as long as the information is public information, it's okay to trade on. And public information doesn't necessarily mean that everybody has the same opportunity to find out that information. You gotta understand that, especially in futures, right? Futures or Forex. Forex is the worst on that one. hard to have an edge in Forex because of that. So I think it's a conflict of interest. So what do? Well, you make a rule that basically says Congress, all of their investments go into a blind trust that's managed for them. And then there's no conflict of interest from then on. And that would have to be like for the rest of your life. It's in a blind trust, right? Okay, cool. Problem solved? No, I don't think so. Because what will happen is then Congress members will just give people tips. They'll say, hey, I know something that's going on, and here's the stock for you to go and buy because of that. But you have to pay me like $100,000 or something like that first, right? And then they go into JP Morgan and Goldman and all these guys, and they give them tips. So has anything changed for you? No. And frankly, like, are they still able to... Is it still a conflict of interest? Kind of think yes. So then you would have to make some rule banning them from also giving tips and doing, like receiving compensation for it, especially. Which, like, okay, so one of the ways that members of Congress get compensated for things is they give a speech, right? Like you say, hey, we want you to work with us a little bit better. We'll tell you, we'll help educate you on what we think certain laws should be and so on and so forth. And in return, we'll invite you to come and give a speech, and we'll pay you like thousands of dollars to do it. And that's how that's where the income for a lot of politicians comes from, right? So you're going to ban that. You're going to say members of Congress cannot be compensated for speaking or giving information to other people, nor can they hold any investments. Okay. That would be awfully hard to enforce, but then you could do that. Maybe that would solve the problem. Then the problem would be that members of Congress don't make enough money to be able to afford to live in DC. So, and nobody wants that. I think that we should pay Congress more. I honestly do. I think we should double what Congress gets paid. Like right now, don't they get paid like $250,000, $300,000? I think that they should make $500,000 to $600,000 a year. Serious. But nobody agrees with me, so. Now, a conflict of interest because passing laws that benefits the company is another way of getting information before the rest of the public. No. It's a conflict of interest because them owning the company gives them, they benefit greatly from passing the laws in a certain way if they own the company. That's why it's a conflict of interest, right? When I was a kid in middle school, my dream job was being military as a sniper because, well, I mean, it doesn't sound too bad. Why didn't you go into that? Why didn't you do that? You know what, though? Nobody wants to be in the military these days. No. We got a real problem with the military in our country because we do not compensate them very well, especially the people that are like first year in the military. And then on top of all of that, we're like screwing up the culture and the whole structure of the military. And like military families, people that have been in the military for generations are telling their kids like, don't go into the military, right? Like we got a real problem there. I love my country, but not as much that, well, you probably wouldn't die though. That's the thing. The best part about the military is the miscellaneous debt line item deduction on every pay. Oh, yeah. If you're the one passing the laws, is the same as trading on information no one else has. But again, like there's the fundamental thing is that you believe it's wrong to trade on information that nobody else has, but I say that it's an essential part of a market. If people aren't able to trade on information that other people don't possibly have, then you don't actually have a real market, because the whole purpose of a market is that it's impossible for us to aggregate all of that information in one spot and have one party or organization know everything. And so the market is a way to aggregate all of that information together. And so it should all be right. Now, there's a lot of information that's kind of like secret, hush hush, nobody knows, but it's not private information, right? Like the only stuff that's really considered private information, the reason it's considered non-public is because it belongs to the company. Like, it's that company's earnings. They're supposed to release it at a certain time with earnings, right? And so it's considered like the information is considered the property of the company, and only the company is allowed to, you know, release that information to the public or do anything with it. So, but you know, insiders, people that are the CEO of the company, and right, they know stuff about the prospects of the company that you don't, that would still be considered public information, and they trade off of it, right? Unless you're going to have some sort of like setup where it's like, okay, before every trade that you take, here are all of the disclosures about every piece of information relevant to that particular thing that you need to know, and you signed a disclaimer that you know all of that, and then, right, like, it's just silly. There will always be asymmetrical information in the market. What is a conflict of interest is when you own something and then you have the ability to make laws that will impact that company. And that's a conflict of interest, because you're supposed to be serving the American people, not yourself. You're going in, you're setting up laws that will basically enrich yourself without any concern as to what's actually best for the American people. That's a conflict of interest. That's why we shouldn't allow Congress to trade or frankly own individual stocks. It should all be in a blind trust. That name kind of sounds familiar, but I think you are new here. How can I learn your way of trading, and if there are guides with the indicators how to use them? Yes, okay. So if you go to speculatorseth.com, there is a detailed documentation there that will tell you everything about the indicators they have. Okay. If you go to my YouTube page here, there are a bunch of playlists that have all of the essential information that you need to know. So there's a getting started video. A lot of that goes more into like your platform, why I picked the platform that I do, those sorts of things. Then there is an order flow series, which kind of discusses the things that you need to know about order flow and how we read that. Okay. If you want something that's more detailed, you can go to speculatorseth.com/strategy.html and you sign up for the mailing list, and it will email a PDF to you. And that PDF goes into the same information that are in those videos, but it's just a little bit more detailed and kind of writes out how we structure it into an actual strategy. But the real brief explanation of how we trade is, we come in this morning and we make this little list. What are some things that we know that might predict the future orders that day? So the big one overnight, there was Japan will be buying bonds next meeting, is kind of the rumor or the speculation. So that is a buy in treasuries. And then overall, we've kind of got some growth concerns, but we're waiting for that Jolts at 10 o'clock. So that 10 o'clock Eastern time, 8 o'clock my time. So in 40 minutes. Okay. And then we combine all those things together and we say, okay, does that give me an imbalance? Like they're more likely to be buying or selling or what? Well, I think more likely to be buying. So then I'm looking for an opportunity to buy. And that's basically how I do it. Unfortunately, things are not necessarily in line. Oh, actually, maybe they are now. Oh, I don't really like the timing of this, though. I think I'm making an excuse for that one, though. So let's try and keep a closer eye on it. You agreed on insider trading. Well, but insider trading is when you're trading on information that belongs to a company, right? So the issue there is, what is inside information, right? If you're a farmer and you know that the crop that year is going to be really, really good and there's going to be a lot of supply coming into the market, and so you try and lock in your price early by selling the futures, is that inside information? I mean, you know information about the supply and demand in the market that other people don't know. Does that count as inside information? Because if that counted as inside information, then the futures market wouldn't work, because the primary reason for why the futures market exists, like the primary customer, wouldn't be able to use the product. So my two versions of the indicator have not completely come into line with each other yet. So I'm kind of wondering if I do actually have a bug still in there. Maybe I need to just like, let's try this. Okay. I'm gonna remove these. Okay. And then I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna add them again. And this one is going to be on each tick. Okay. Try that again. I kind of am thinking that maybe we just missed the potential buy. Like, I might have been able to do it 4-3-5-5. I don't really like taking a trade like just before the E-mini opens, though, you know? That's why I don't like the timing of it. I don't think that should prevent me from getting into the trade. Now it's kind of like not the best price, so I might have missed it. But I'm gonna try monitoring it here a little more closely. Passing laws that directly affect the company you invested in is even worse than insider information. Well, yeah, because there's a conflict of interest. You're dead set on only being a conflict of interest. Yes. Because when you take this, the reason why the approach that the layperson takes to this sort of a thing, which is, well, I don't know that information, so how come they're allowed to trade on it and I'm not? That's the way that most people are thinking. The reason most people want Congress to not trade is because they're jealous. They don't have that opportunity, and they wish that they could do that and make a ton of money in the stock market. And I'm saying, if you take that kind of philosophy of the world to its logical conclusion, you can't have markets. So it's a silly approach to market. Like, having insider trading laws, I agree with those. There are some people that think that there just shouldn't be insider trading laws. I don't agree with that. I think that there is some information that belongs to the company, and the company should be able to, restrict and control the release of that information. Okay? But some people are going to know things that other people don't. That's what makes a market. Okay. So there was a large order at 27. We just ticked down to it again. There are still 6,000 contracts. Not a whole lot trading, but it does look like it's pulling. Yeah, okay, it's pulling, and now it's down to 37. I don't know. So I was looking at this and I was like, well, maybe if I could get 355 again. But look at this on the chart. Okay, we got this run up and then it went flat and it dropped. And the drop in cumulative delta was almost larger than this move up. So is that actually the confirmation that I'm looking for to get long? I don't think so. And again, the timing of it is a little bit... No, I think that as much as it pains me... Man, I'm going to say this now, you watch, it's just going to rocket up there. I'm going to hold off. I'm going to be so pissed if they just go gangbusters higher here, but I'm going to hold off and see what if you know what's going on going into Jolts, and then maybe we have an opportunity after Jolts. TLT will be key. The opening here, yeah. And that's kind of what I'm a little bit concerned about. I don't know. The S&P 500 is on a pretty decent uptrend. You know, it was down overnight, but the recovery has been good. It is giving me 355. So I can't say that I didn't get the opportunity for it. I am explicitly passing it up now. You know, the Treasury, another thing is that I kind of thought, oh, with just the rotation we could get 355, but now I'm looking at it like how far the Treasury, the main Treasury, had to move for me to get 355 was a little bit more than I expected. Okay, so there was 3470. I don't know about that. So what I'm noticing now is that the micro is shifting around a lot right here, as they kind of went back and forth at 26.5. So they kind of seem like they're at like a decision point where they're not sure if it bounces back up or it goes down, and the market makers are like shuffling themselves around really quickly on every tick up or down as that probability changes. So a situation like that could potentially be a good trade if you know which way it's going to resolve. We do have some stuff that tell us the flows are long, but you know, the flows have not been in line with our predictions. So I don't know if we actually have an edge in that situation. And when you get that sort of a thing, that can be a little bit of a tug and a pull. So you're more likely to get adverse excursion in that sort of situation. So is, I guess, the problem with it. You're sure 27? Yeah, it's well, but like that's the thing is like speculators are very much will get drawn into taking trades in that spot, right? It kind of looks like they might be forming a liquidity hole at 27, which surprises me that they would do that. Also, I'm a little bit worried about the Japanese yen has been... I feel like the Japanese yen should be on a strong uptrend, but during our session, it's been all over the place.
Block buy.
Okay. So there was a strong buy right there. So in that situation, a strong buy like that might kind of tempt me to try and hit it. That could also, it was kind of like in the hole though also, so may constrain price, and especially given the timing. So we got 25 minutes to Jolts. Somebody's really making a big bet. Yeah, I don't know about that one, man. Unless they really, one thing could be, we expect Jolts to be weak. So if you needed to buy today, maybe it would behoove you to get as much of it before Jolts as you could. But I don't like big orders, right? Like I would much rather be in and then see big orders than it take me up, you know? Not I see the big order, I chase after it. It's still giving me 4355 though. There's a decent amount of retail traders playing in the micros this morning. I kind of suspect if we push to the top end of this range again, let's see if another big order gets dumped over here. Okay, so that time there was a pretty strong hit into 27.5, but it did not clear. So they're going to require 5,000 contracts to get above 27.5? Maybe even 6? Kind of tempted to test them here, but you know, like if I put an offer at 4354, would they fill it immediately? You know, I might not be able to find out. They're not clearing 27.5 yet though. And it flipped. Like for a second there, it looked like maybe 27.5 was going to lift, and then the 27 pulled. I'm kind of, you see over here on the ZB, the knob spread, this kind of like, oh, it was flattening and now maybe steepening. It's a little curious. Oh, by the way, let's pull up our indicator here. Looks right to me. I can pull up the two, you know, the data caches of it and confirm that they're the same. Percentage of buyers is peaking at 0.65. Yeah. Like it's been tilted to the buy side for quite some time. Granted, at the moment, there's not... Oh, sorry. Over here. Yeah. 0.6 was actually higher than that at one point, but I think that was before I really had a lot of volume built up into it. But at the moment, it's kind of slowed down. Right? So that does kind of make me question, you know, like the situation that I'm thinking is like there's these buyers and they want to buy it before Jolts, or maybe they're going to front run Jolts. Like they should be gobbling it up. And they seem to be super tepid about it. Well, there was an uptick at least. But you're right. If I would much rather prefer there to be some sort of a counterflow for me to execute with to get me a better position. Maybe when they were down here at 26, that was the best you was going to get. But then the other thing is that when the treasuries were at those lows, it was only giving me 4.356. So like the micros have only moved 3 ticks when the treasury moved 3 ticks. That's not necessarily advantageous to me, is it? Which does, by the way, kind of suggest steepening. That was a peak above 70 and a reaction. Oh, you're right, because they are the percentage buy is declining. Maybe. Their selling is not giving me better price, though. But the other problem now is it's taken so long that I don't think... That's what I mean. Yeah. The problem now is that there's only like 15 minutes. So now I don't feel like there's enough time for me to really make enough out of it to justify it. Or are they just gonna like stop run through here and prove me wrong and make me regret not getting into it? Oh well, I would be up 5 now. Let's see here. I am seeing maybe a gentle rise in the Japanese yen along with this. So the flows aren't the best, but they're okay. If I had more time before the news, I think I could maybe justify buying it like right there, like 28 or something like that. But, you know, it's summer. I'm going to be super picky too, right? I was probably too picky in that instance, like I have been a lot. But, you know, I don't have to super regret it until it's been 10 ticks, right? When it's 10 ticks, then I'll be like, oh, why didn't I do it, Zeb? And even then, it's just 10 ticks, right? How far are they actually going to go before Jolts? Then the other side of it is, okay, if I had the 5 ticks, would I be tempted to hold into Jolts? I think I would be. It would probably be a degenerate decision, but I would maybe do it. You know? Oh, that was a good uptick right there, man. And pretty strong buying into 29. Wow, that moved the micros a lot. That moved the micros a lot, that one tick. I got myself a little distracted there. I noticed that somebody had responded to one of my things on Reddit. So I hadn't talked about this because I didn't really understand what was going on yet, but one of the banking services that I've promoted in the past, named Yada, is apparently in a dispute with their bank. Like, the bank, I guess, is going through bankruptcy or something like that, and it like basically cut Yada off from like being able to take anything. So like if you have money in Yada, it's just frozen right now. And so you would think, oh, okay, well, like it's supposed to be FDIC insured and on all this sort of stuff, so like the FDIC should be giving us our money back, right? Well, apparently the way that it works is that Yada has a relationship with the bank. And the bank is an FDIC insured bank, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's the same as you having an account at that bank. So, right, so far, the FDIC has refused to get involved. Like, they're saying, like, they have to go through the courts and all of this and resolve it on their own first. So some people are like, well, but, you know, I don't think that they completely understand that. And I'm sitting here like, well, if they're not putting your money in a segregated account over there, and it's all one account, then that means that Yada as a whole is only insured for up to 250,000. That's kind of a problem if something happened and the money's not actually there. This person was arguing with me about that, yeah. I remember, well, I always had it in the video descriptions. I'm starting to remove them, but you know, I can only remove so many a day with the YouTube API restrictions in my script. But I mean, I liked the service. More recently, they changed it. So it used to be that it was just like a lottery pick every day, right? Now they've added all of these mini games and all this other BS. So I don't like what the services come, and I wouldn't recommend it anymore. I liked the original idea though. And you know, I don't think there was anything about it, you know, the setup and everything that would suggest that like it was a bad idea or anything like that. I'm not supporting a snake oil salesman in my Discord. Lucas, look. People are allowed to talk in Discord, and unless they explicitly break one of the rules, I'm just gonna let them do their thing. And that's part of the fun of it, frankly. But I don't think that it was a scam. There was nothing that would have told you that they would get in a dispute with their bank. You know? One of the things that I see people going out there is they're like, well, you're not people shouldn't be promoting these if they're not a financial advisor and this and that. And I'm like, well, no, because number one, if you were a financial advisor, I think that you would still support it because it's just supposed to be a bank account. And two, then you're saying that like nobody can ever give a recommendation about anything financial. Like that doesn't make sense. I just wish you had, well, you can only expect so much when it's a public Discord, right? The only thing that we can do is try to provide good content ourselves so that the people that understand what's going on want to stay and the people that are clueless lose interest, right? You got a tweet? Sure. Oh, I saw that one. Yes, I saw that one. Oh my gosh. Okay, so there was a guy on Wall Street Bets yesterday. Because remember, Berkshire Hathaway was like down to the B shares, which are normally $500,000. Like a glitch had them at 186. Okay. Well, so this guy said, oh, I'm going to try and buy it at 186, right? Well, he accidentally, I guess, put in a market order. And so it filled him at like, $500,000 or whatever. And like, because the thing was halted or there was the data glitch or whatever, it was like immediately showing him a 16K loss or something. When I first saw it, I was like, oh, you got filled at the 183? What? That's crazy. 500, that's like a $200,000 win all at once. No, it was the opposite. He thought he was just buying it. He accidentally put it in a market order. Yeah, I kind of suspect though that the exchange will like cancel that trade out in the end. Exchange usually doesn't let a transaction like that stand. That's my understanding. It's a pretty decent amount of volume going up into 29 as well, although we are getting more pushback. Okay, there's 29 bid. We got 5 minutes to the news. I would not get filled at my take profit yet, but it looks like it's going to happen. Assuming that I would be trying to take profits there. I don't know if I would. I mean, the flows are kind of looking like they're going to keep going. By the way, is it just me or has the liquidity thickened up as this has moved up as well? Okay. Now that one had a lot of backwash on it. They ticked up, I heard a lot of clicking, and then 6K sold through the iceberg at 29.5. that is something that is likely to halt action for a while. Do indexes roll next week or the next? No, it's the same week as the options, right? So it'll be, I think it's the 18th. I had to calculate this for something and I don't remember the rules now. I think it's 3 days as well before the, so I think it's Tuesday. What is that clicking? Is that? No, I am seeing clicks. They're just really far away. I see. Whoa, what? So the big order that I'm seeing come on and off that's causing that clicking is like way up there. Like 111.28. It's like way up here. And it's causing all this clicking. I don't like that. I am going to put, ooh, wow. Huh. I'm going to put in here minimum position. Let's say 64. That should filter that out. No, wait, what did I did it wrong? Oh, I need it over here too, max. There we go. That turned it off. Better. Oh, I see what happened. They plopped a big old honking offer there at 29. Well, I'm suspicious of that. That kind of looks to me like, oh, well, we need a temporary pullback, but I think that he just used that as an opportunity to get long again. Oh, no. We got Jolts. Let's ignore all of this. Let's see what Jolts does. Were you able to fix that glitch that happened during month close? Okay, so the big... so going through it, I did find a bug wherein this was not actually doing the period that it was supposed to. So it was taking them off 9 bars back instead of 10, or 10 bars back instead of 11 bars back. I was concerned that that bug would also be in the on tick data flow. And looking at what I got right here, oh no wait, that's just because yeah, no, I need to, that's just because it was last what's the word, this one is 1 tick ahead, right? 0.56 0.57. They are slightly different, so I do suspect that this one has the bug too. But I don't think that was the bug that resulted in a negative number that time. Or at least the one time that I was watching it. Because the one time that I think that would fix the bug that caused like the screw up at the end of the month, perhaps. But not the one that we saw yesterday. The one that we saw yesterday, it's like it just got reset for no reason. And I don't know what that was about. Okay, so they are pulled for this. Let's see if it does it again here with this big news, right? Wow, they came back pretty good though off of that, not off of that Jolts, and the liquidity in the micro is just completely gone. Okay, wow. Okay, 8059. That's much lower than the expected 835. You think that I should have just taken the bet on you know, because I did think it was going to be low. I don't know if I'd be good at making that kind of bet, but Whew, look at that flow. But immediately coming into icebergs at 10 and 15, or 01 and 01 half. Okay, and now continuing up. And am I seeing steepening? Yes, I'm seeing steepening. The Japanese yen jumping. Gold finally coming along here. Cryptocurrencies look like they're pumping. S&P 500 really likes that. So let's keep an eye on the S&P 500 because the pattern for the last few days has been bad news is bad. They just said bad news is good, but that could fade and turn into bad news is bad again. And that's something worth making note of. But for us over here, I don't know if I would have an opportunity to do anything here now. Would in the full treasury, but not in the micro. Okay, when bonds make large directional movements with momentum, do you notice if ZN moves with relatively light volume or really heavy? Well, what you're going to tend to see is that it requires less volume overall for a price to clear during those situations, but so much volume trades during there that it kind of, doesn't matter. So like if you're looking at a chart and everything, you would never notice that. But when you're looking at the DOM, you can see here, right? There's all these spots where hardly anything traded for it to move up, right? Even though the amount of volume overall is like big. So how much have we moved just since the news? 196 to 207, so 10K. 10K. I don't know. I'm really tempted to just be like, buy it here. It should go higher in the end. I'm not sure about that one. I think that number one, the liquidity in the micro treasury still looks like crap. Right. Then over here, the possibility that it well, for one, they might kind of just get stuck at 110. They might try and close that gap at 30. I kind of think though that if given this situation, it would be hard to get back to there. 110 even, definitely though. Yes, you're right. We talked about that earlier. He did not sell yesterday. I think that he may be holding to because they have earnings next week. But actually, we should check in on that. Where are they at right now? Well, it looks like they have kind of come down into his break-even spot and, bounced a little bit. What do you mean by OPEX tailwind? I don't know. I like the flows going are likely to be sells now. Like, it smells like bacon to me, man. Smells like bacon to me. But we won't see the conclusion of it until the 21st. Okay. So I said probably likely to come back to 110 even at the very least, but maybe they could try and clear through that entire like kind of slip area. And but look, they're just careening right through it. Yeah, it smells like bacon. Bulls make money, bears make money, but hogs get slaughtered. And I smell bacon. So on one hand, with the treasuries here, I'm liking if I could get especially 3, 4, 5, that would be great. I don't know if they're going to give me that price though. But that being able to come back that far that quickly really makes me question this entire setup. Damaged, like, well, let's not use that word. I think that to quote unquote repair damaged liquidity, it takes 45 minutes. But they did clear through the area. And that does mean something. XRT has been shorted 400%. Okay. So the only thing that I can see in GameStop is like, okay, he revealed his position. Everybody bought behind him. And then there was no follow through. Like the retail traders were willing to pay up and pump it in the overnight liquidity. But then during the day, the retail traders aren't actually coming into this. So the flow that he would need to keep his position in the money is essentially not coming. So it looks like instead that they are coming back to his break-even price, and maybe the market will just kind of rotate around that, right? But then the other thing that I see is that it seems he did not sell his position. I mean, he is pumping it, and he did basically dump on everybody last time. But it looks to me like he may be trying to make a bet on the earnings, and that he's going to try and hold it through the earnings. So if that's the case, I would expect GameStop to be tilted to the downside until that earnings release. Well, we don't know who bought. Well, what we do know is that the sellers were more aggressive yesterday, right? But more so than that, like if the retail traders were really coming into it, I would expect to see a lot of halts and tons of volatility and all that sort of stuff. But my chart only shows it getting halted once. Right? I think one of the things that happens that just kind of reinforces to me that most of the GameStop cultists just have no clue what's going on is that they are looking at like every single little new piece of information that they can possibly find out there and trying to use it to confirm their position, right? When I think that I just mentioned to you like the most important pieces of information, and the rest is probably just a wash. It's probably just a wash. And what you'll see these guys do is like, okay, he came in and made the tweet, and then it was up overnight, and then they treat that as some huge victory. And then the next day when it goes down, they're like in depression, you know? That to me is somebody that's gambling and their emotions are going up and down based on how good their position is doing, right? That's not somebody that I think you want to be trading with or following. When I'm like that, you don't want to be following me, right? Guys, why do you think that it's coming back so hard? Was this whole move up just them front-running Jolts and had nothing to do with the Japanese yen? And now those people that had bought are taking their profits? Look at the cumulative delta in ZN. I did not expect that at all. Like, there's no way that I was going to come in here and look at this and be like, okay, let's sell it here. It's going to go down. No way. I find this flow very surprising. But the flow has kind of been a little iffy and confusing today anyways, hasn't it? Like, it did end up going to the upside the way, you know, we did expect it to be the upside, but the way that it played out and everything was just really weird to me. And now that really reinforces to me, I don't really have a trade. I think I could have made $10 in that. Maybe if I had held it and taken the risk, I could have made 20 or 30. But overall, like the way that I should be executing and the way that I would like to trade, I think that it really was no trade. So I guess I did what I was supposed to. I still wanted to take a trade though. I'm still disappointed I didn't end up taking a trade today. I'm still kind of thinking like, did I pussy out?
Block sell.
Oh my gosh. What is going on here? Okay, so let's hop over to
Block
zero hedge. Oh my gosh. For real? For real? Okay, I do not see a story on zero hedge yet about the Jolts. What do they have? They do have a couple of interesting stories that I am not up on. Biden to sign executive order limiting border crossings. After shredding Donald Trump's xenophobic executive orders on border security his first day in office more than 3 years ago, resulting in what some estimate to be upwards of 20 million illegal immigrants pouring into the United States, President Joe Biden is quietly signing an executive order on Tuesday aimed at slowing migrant crosses. As we noted on Friday, the executive order would slash asylum claims by roughly 2/3 of where they stand today and would cap the number of daily encounters at an average of 2,500 crossings per day. However, Biden would allow mass asylum claims to resume once the border encounters fall to around 1,500 per day. The Border Patrol recorded approximately 4,300 encounters in April, which of course doesn't include gotaways, those who enter the U.S. without notice. The move comes 3 months after the White House said Biden was no longer considering using executive action to secure the border. According to Bloomberg, lawmakers and others have been invited to a Tuesday afternoon event at the White House. The order is Biden's most aggressive move yet to address the crisis on U.S.-Mexico border, which has seen record levels of migrants and taxed communities across the country struggling to deal with the influx of new arrivals. A bipartisan Senate plan that would have given Biden similar powers was blocked by Republicans at Trump's behest earlier this year, denying the president a political win. That is not what happened. Okay, I know that every news outlet is going to tell you that that's what happened, but the reality is that the quote-unquote bipartisan Senate plan was a total stinker of a bill. There was absolutely nothing in it that the House Republicans could have supported, and Donald Trump was kind of, just following the conservatives on this. If Donald Trump had said, like, let's pass this bill, I think that they would have revolted because it was really a terrible bill. Okay, anyways, Tuesday's order is politically risky. It will invite criticism from Biden's left flank, which has blasted moves to ramp up deportations as inhumane approach to the crisis that has the potential to stymie his efforts to shore up an electoral coalition already driven by divisions over his handling of the Israel-Hamas war and overarching concerns over his age and fitness to serve a second term. I think that's probably the wrong take from Bloomberg. The American public is overwhelmingly against the policy that Biden has been enacting on the border, and it's probably one of his biggest vulnerabilities. So, an executive action aimed at trying to quell that, so that, it can help his real, like, I wouldn't surprise me at all. Like, Joe Biden does this. Let's say that he wins. Right now, he's not likely to, but let's say he wins. It wouldn't surprise me to see, like, as soon as he's back in office, rescind it, then it really would be just a transparent political ploy, right? But, it will invite criticism from Biden's left flank, yes, but it will probably help him. Okay, Biden administration's move underscores how the administration has been compelled to act just months before the 2024 election, as it became a centerpiece issue for Republicans on the campaign trail. Donald Trump has been constantly hammering Biden over the borders as polls continue to show that voters think the border and immigration are critical issues. The executive order also timed to reflect an effort to deter a seasonal increase in crossings that typically occurs each summer and early fall, and comes as Mexico welcomes a new president, Claudia Sheinbaum, who was elected on Sunday. She doesn't take office until October 1st, and it's unknown what actions she will take on the border situation. In recent weeks, the Biden administration has taken other steps to tighten immigration rules. Last month, they proposed a rule that would allow the U.S. to expedite the expulsion of certain undocumented immigrants trying to claim asylum. According to the report, Biden will use Section 212F of the Immigration and Nationality Act, which Trump invoked, which are anticipated to invite legal challenges. House Speaker Mike Johnson told Fox News Sunday the move is too little too late, adding the only reason he's doing that is because the polls say that's the biggest issue in America. She's a leftist and will aid in trafficking? That's what it sounds like to me. So I haven't heard anything about her and her policy or beliefs. All I know is that Reddit seems to like her, so that must mean she's a raging leftist, right? And she's a scientist, apparently, too. I don't think that being a scientist necessarily makes you good at public policy, but yeah, Reddit's probably going to like you, yeah. Can you believe that we're going to be at lows here? I feel like I read that pretty good. Like, I'm still stunned that we're pushing lows. But the way that it came through 30 there, because I was thinking, when I initially said that, like, oh, well, they could come back to 30. When I initially said that, I was thinking, oh, maybe they give me a good enough pullback that I can buy it and then it will push up higher. And it blasted through it and I'm like, that's not right. And then, yeah, it just kept going. So I guess I could have just turned around and just outright sold it. But again, this sell flow is, in fact, come back and look at it again. Holy cow. Holy cow. Like, we're all like, okay, maybe that's enough for us to buy. No, like, look at that. That's a good, let's include the 5. That's a good 60,000 contracts net sell after the Jolts number. There's got to be something in that I'm missing. There's got to be some nuance in that report that I'm not reading from the headline number, you know? Okay. Well, Jason Furman has a few things about it. Let's see what he says. Big news in Jolts. Job openings per unemployed back to what they were prior to COVID. This, plus openings alone, were the main labor market variable that had been shown more tightness than pre-COVID. And this means the post-pandemic Beveridge curve has now rejoined the pre-pandemic. I don't know what that is. Nick Timmeros, labor market imbalances continue to ease. Job openings fell below 8.1 million in April, bringing the vacancy to unemployed ratio to 1.24. For private sector workers in April, the share laid off held steady at 1%. Voluntary quits held steady at 2.4. The hiring rate held steady at 3.9. So Nick posting a little bit about it, but not anything that just reiterating the numbers, not any kind of like, oh, the Fed might think this or that or whatever. there's got to be something in that number that seems like it not as weak as the headline says, because I have a hard time. So of course, when we're seeing a run up going into the number, we have to be careful about the profit taking that might come off of that, right? But I have a hard time believing that there was 60,000 contracts that were long going into that, and now they're just dumping because of taking their profits. There's got to be something more behind that, because that's a pretty big imbalance to the downside that we were not expecting at all, right? So I'm happy with what I did on this, because this could have been a situation where I'm like, oh, it should keep going up and I could take a big loss, but I didn't take any trades, so I'm happy about that. On the day, there weren't. Financial Juice says you can claim Chivalry 2 for free on the Epic Store until the... That's funny that they've got Chivalry 2 on there. But I can't believe that. Why would Financial Juice say that? What are they really? Are you just jerking my chain? Because you want me to play that game or something? You know, I was playing a lot of Helldivers for a while, and then I don't know why I just kind of... I guess I haven't had the time. And I haven't played it, and I haven't played any games. Is he gonna go for new low? Oh, man. Well, even though that's like a new low for the session, like you don't really get to key levels in the treasuries until like 20. I do have the cost basis for the shorts at 23. That would be kind of weird if they went all the way to 23 and they did a bounce or something. And what about this thing right here? Well, they're close. Which one is which? Second one is the on each tick is 4B, 4C. Okay, so what I should see is... I'm gonna copy this. Let's just open up another Excel window so I can close that, and if not... Well, I probably already screwed it up, huh? Did it just give me the... Yeah, cannot access the file. Yeah, that's... Maybe I won't do that then. V... So, all of these equals sum of all of these should equal that, and they don't. Played a lot of Helldivers too, but eventually got tired of their devs. They seem a little inexperienced, don't they? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, okay, no. Well, that's even worse, isn't it? So then where is it coming from? Oh, I'm having a real hard time sorting that out. You only added 99 contracts, but the change went to 38. Oh, okay, so it was 30,820 plus 99. 34809. $3,890. No way. So let me do that again. 34809 plus 99 minus 3890 equals 34. Oh no, I screwed up. Let's try it again. 34809 plus 99 minus 30820. 4088. Okay. Or no, wait, how did I get that? I do not have a number pad. No. I'm trying to sort out what my indicator thinks it's doing here. Because it's wrong. So this should be, this number right here should equal to all of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right? It should be 29904 and it's 34809. So what is it doing to get that? Where is it getting that from? Yeah, there's something wrong in that version of the indicator. See, so if I pull up the other one, which would be this one right here. Okay. And I say equals sum of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, it's slightly off that one too. It's frustrating to me that such a simple concept has become so effing complicated, and I'm screwing it up. That one bothers me even more. So this one should be sorry, let's clear all this. 19135 plus 1221 minus, and again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1208. 191148. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Block by.
Oh boy. What about if I include that one? No. So what it does is it is kind of like a moving average. So I am adding the new data point and I am removing the old data point that's 11 back. So this should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? That's the window is this. Let me, how do we do this? View. No. Oh, come on. Format cells, maybe. Border. Outline. Okay. That's my window. So this, the way that it's doing it is it's taking this number right here. It's adding this number and it's minusing this one. So basically equals this plus this minus this. 19,148. Okay. But that should also be the same as all of these added together. Which it's not. It's 19,115. So I don't know where that discrepancy is coming from. $33 contracts that I can't account for. How does that happen? Now, it could be that somewhere in there, one of these is off, and then it's forever screwed up after that. So let's try this. 1, 2, 3 per equals sum of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, that one where there was only one lot there is where at the 10 is where we were like, that's not right. Yeah. Because before that, I bet you it was correct. Equals sum of those. Oh. No. From 1 to 10. Oh, no, wait. Didn't I just... Oh, yeah, okay. 1 to 9. Okay. Interesting. So this one right here. So you like 25, 2959, 2959. So then the next one should be 2959 plus 2166. Two 2959 plus 2166 equals 15125. And it said that it was 5126. And this is the one that's supposedly good and that I checked yesterday and was fine. How? How? So, I think that what you're getting, like, I don't think that this would be useless to Uzi. But, oh man, they overdid it and are already selling there. Huh, that was a pretty good sell, wasn't it? But it's not exactly on. There is a bug in it. There is a bug in it still. And I can't, for the life of me, imagine what it would possibly be. Hmm. I wonder if it's a concurrency problem. Like, it comes in and it says, okay, current buys, current sells is this. And then it starts going through and doing all of the calculations. And like underneath of it, like there's more volume that comes in as it's calculating it. And so those variables that I have in there to keep track of the current buys and sells are changing halfway through. And that's where the discrepancy comes from. So if that's the case, then as soon as I save that value, I need to reset this like that. You can't see my code, but But I think that I have some of this in here was like trying to fix it and, you know. Anyways. I don't need that line now. Okay. So. Where is my chart? Okay. I am now going to remove these. I'm going to close all this. Don't save. Delete the cache data that I got. Add it on again. And unbar close. So I'll let that run for a while. Check it again. And see if that fixes the problem. So that's my best guess as to what's going on. I'd be pretty proud of myself if that's what it is, because that would be something that, you know, would be very difficult to guess. Okay, so while I was messing with that, what did the Treasury market do? They bounced back up again and then pulled back down. Well, I don't completely understand what's going on there. It does look like that the S&P 500 kind of came back there after the Jolts number, but the market seems to be acting like that the Jolts number wasn't as bad as it seems. Well, Zero Hedge now has a story. After several months of relatively boring Jolts prints, last month, Janet Yellen's favorite labor market indicator once again got exciting, and not in a good way, as the number of March job openings unexpectedly plunged by 325,000, pulling the total to 8.5 million, the lowest in 3 years. Then, moments ago, the BLS reported the latest April update, and it was even worse. Starting at the top, according to the April Jolts report, job openings unexpected plunged by 296K from a downward revised 8.355 million in March to just 8.059 million, far below the 8.35 expected, and the lowest number since February 2021, when it last printed below 8 million. The 291K miss to estimates of 8.35 was not big, but not as big as last month's revised miss, which was 325. Still, the two consecutive misses are the biggest since mid-2023. According to the Department of Labor, in April, job openings decreased in healthcare and social assistance and in state and local government education, but increased in private educational services. The silver lining, last month's record collapse in construction jobs from 456K to 247K, or 274K. I'm not dyslexic, I promise. 1 month drop, and the biggest on record, was upward revised dramatically higher, with the March number now at 346K, although April saw another drop to 338K, if not nearly quite as dramatic. Still, the 2 month drop in construction job openings is still the biggest on record. In the context of the broader jobs report, in March, number of job openings was 1.567 million more than the number of unemployed workers, down significantly from last month's 1.926. Said otherwise, in April, the number of job openings to unemployed dropped to just 1.24, a sharp slide from the March print of 1.3, the lowest level since June 2021, and now officially back to pre-COVID levels. At quits, the indicator closely associated with labor market strength, as it shows workers are confident they can find a better wage elsewhere, shows that after last month's unexpected plunge, in April, the number of quits actually rose by 98,000, which is back to the range observed in the pre-COVID days. Also notable is that amid the stagnant level of job openings, the number of hires has remained flat in the mid 5 million level, close to the lowest since January 2018, and is now also well below pre-COVID levels. Finally, no matter what the data shows, let's not forget that it is all just estimated, and it is safe to say that the real number of job openings remains still far lower, since half of it, or some 70% to be specific, is guesswork, as the BLS itself admits. While the response rate to most of its various labor surveys has collapsed in recent years, nothing is as bad as the Jolts report, where the actual response rate remains near a record low 33%. In other words, more than 2/3 or 70% of the final number of job openings is estimated. I don't think that that's an accurate explanation of that, but okay. And at the time when it is critical for Biden to maintain the illusion that at least the labor market remains strong when everything else in the Biden economy is crashing and burning, we'll let readers decide if the administration's labor department is plunging the estimate gap with numbers that are stronger or weaker. Okay. But that still does not explain why we sold so hard after that. So I guess I'm just not in the know today. Well, how many bars did that give us? That's not right, because we almost certainly... Okay. Yes, I was afraid that that would happen. Hold on. There was a bug. I missed something. Yes. F5. Like sent me a picture of a monkey for some reason. Python programmers watching Excel spreadsheet finance bros. I don't know, man. You can do pretty powerful stuff with Excel. Okay. So that should have printed something and it did not. It did make one though. Oh, you gotta be kidding me, right? That can't possibly be correct. Oh, interesting. Yes. Okay, hold on. I see what's going on now, but hmm. Hmm. No, that's weird. What it just did there was a little weird. Now it's like never setting. Well, I'll probably have it figured out before tomorrow, but there's a little bit of a weirdness about like what is bar 0 versus like just the first bar that we're doing, and I don't know. I think if I just turn on Visual Studio and like debug them, then it'll, I'll figure it out. But I digress. It's time for me to get going. Pop and reverse. Markets pop and, well, let's say treasuries. Treasuries pop and reverse on after Jolts, I guess. All right. Well, other than my issues with my code here. Yeah. I was showing you some of the logic. This is like the simple part of the logic, but there's more complicated stuff elsewhere. So, all right. Well, anyways, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Stay